So here's what I say. I have had a series of pretty spectacular male leaders inside and outside of the military. My first captain on the Cutter Decisive when we went through Katrina, that man, Captain Baines, he's retired now, Steve Baines, he was the officiant at my wedding. I mean, wow. He is just an absolutely incredible human being. And I learned the lesson from him. You take care of your people, the people will take care of the mission. He lives by it. I mean, people will say that as some cliche, like HR cultural talking point, and then they don't walk the walk, right? You see the discrepancy in their behavior. This man lives and breathes that ethos. He knows you. He knows your relationships. He knows your family. He knows where you're strong. He knows where you're weak. He gives you advice, whether you want it or not. On where you're doing well, where you're not doing well. And you can tell that he cares about you as a human being, not just a chess piece.
People can tell if it's authentic or not. This guy is obviously incredibly authentic. Incredibly
authentic. And he was also one heck of a ship driver. So as an engineer, I had zero desire to get qualified to drive the ship. And he insisted that I do it. And as usual, he was right. But one heck of a captain. I would also say that I've had a few other male leaders in the civilian space equally as remarkable. And what I learned about those leaders is balancing the need to accomplish the metric and the way you go about accomplishing the metric, right?
Okay.
So Rachel knows the story. I had to learn this story early, Patrick, because when I came out of the military, I was like, we are going to hit this freaking metric, come hell or high water, get on the bus, get run over by it. I don't care. Like, we're going to do this, you know?
How have I not met you before? You need to spend more time together.
We do.
I told you.
We do. But I had to learn early that, hey, not necessarily being likable, because I think sometimes as a woman, people are like, oh, you need to smile more. Like, shut up. Okay, please stop. But it's not necessarily being likable, but it's like people need to not want to spoon their eyes out at the thought of getting up and coming to work with you, right? So there's a way to go about accomplishing the metric in a human-centered way where you praise in public, you discipline in private, you still accomplish the metric, but you don't make people feel terrible while they're in the fight. You know? I think it's probably the second lesson that I've learned. Now, I'm going to say something controversial, and ladies, don't come for me. This is just my experience. Okay. So like, don't tear me up in the podcast notes. But my experience is I've had a series of pretty horrible female leaders. And now I will say there have been some female leaders that have been spectacular for me. I'll call them by name. Tamara Sniffen over at Stryker, one of the best leaders ever. Lorian Gallo, she was my boss for a period of time at Stryker. Absolutely phenomenal human. To this day, if she called me, I'd be like, what do you need? I'm on the next flight. Like, would run through a brick wall for that woman. But I've also had some that weren't great. And I would say for the leaders, this is my assessment. And again, this is an opinion of one, sample size of one. So you guys take it for what it is. But I think where maybe the female leaders went wrong is there was this sense of there can only be one. There can only be one of us that's amazing. And you can just be good enough to make me look good, but you can't be better than me because then now you're competing with me and I can't have that. Right. So there was this.
God, it's so disappointing to hear that. And, you know, I've witnessed it, but I'm not as smart to be able to articulate it the way you just did. There can only be one. Like I didn't mean to interrupt you, but wow, that's a thing to hear.
It really is, Patrick. And I see Rachel nodding along because I'm sure all of us women have come across that one female leader that it's just like, no, you're here to serve me and to make me look good, but you can never be better than me. Wow. And just like you can feel it on the other end when leaders are authentic and they care about you and they want you to do well and they feel like their job is to create other leaders, you feel it on the other end where it's very obvious that it's like, oh, okay, You want me to be just good enough to make you look good, but not good enough to be your boss or to be your peer or to live next door.
Is that something y'all learn? I'm talking to both of you. Is that something you both learned by spending time with them, or you guys smell that right away and you're like, oh God, or both?
I mean, Rachel, you answer, but I sniff it out pretty quickly.
Well,
I sniff it out also. And unfortunately, you can usually sniff it out once you've experienced it. And it can even be with women who are way more senior, right? So just a quick story. I once had a peer who was more senior than I. And once a month, I had a skip level with her boss. And she joined me in that meeting. But it was my meeting. I was there to present my work, and it was my opportunity for exposure. And what I started noticing is every time the boss asked a question, she would answer it. And I was kind of annoyed because I'm like, hey, this is my one opportunity to present my work. He asked me a question. Yes, I know you know the answer, but this is kind of my space. Now, of course, we can have a conversation, but don't steal my thunder every time. And so I was thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, naively, I was going to approach her and I was going to tell her how that made me feel. Well, big mistake, because she then proceeded to try and tear me down, which was so unfortunate because I didn't want her job. I didn't want glory. All I wanted was the respect of being able to speak in that meeting. And I walked into a fight that I didn't even realize what the rules were then. And since then, I've been able to sniff it out and avoid similar situations. But it's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, Patrick. And I would say, I spoke a little bit about coaching executive women. We created this space on LinkedIn called My Sister's Shoulders. And one of the things that we spent a lot of time talking about in this community of women is how not to let that experience deteriorate your self-worth. Because that's what happens to women. Right? Yeah. You run up against someone that you're like, oh, someone that looks like me, someone that has my same gender, they're going to be an ally, they're going to help me. And they end up being your worst enemy. And then you're left thinking, oh my God, am I actually bad at my job? Like this whole time I thought I was good. Is it really me? Is it her? The gaslighting? I mean, and it really wreaks havoc on especially young leaders' self-worth and their willingness to continue to learn and grow. It's hard.